70. You need to be on.
So Rick he may not be here. Oh, you've got one. He may not be here tonight because he's got some things going on with his son. So. But I don't know where Suzanne is. I thought she would have been here.
She might just be running a little bit late. When I saw her this morning, it did take her a little bit of time to get from where she was working to here, so. There she is. Oh, there, I was gonna say, I bet she was gonna be here. I thought she might just be running a little late.
Is that? No, they're on the way. It sounds like applicant.
I was wondering why it felt so cold. It's a little bit colder.
They did it.
Like feel that.
So, it's nice, like ice.
She isn't here. I just. Oh, okay, okay. Okay. So, today is Monday, September 8th. It's the planning commission meeting. We postponed it a week because of the holiday last week. So I would like, to take roll call first.
Chair Watson,
Present?
Vice Chair Howe, present. Commissioner Lee,
Here,
Commissioner Stelter. Commissioner Smith. Here. Commissioner Hunter. Here. Commissioner Bachran.
Here.
You have a floor.
Okay, thank you. So I consider a motion to have for agenda approval. Anybody wants to move on?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So next, approval of minutes. We have the minutes for August 4th, 2025 planning commission meeting. Does someone want to make a motion, or does anybody have any comments about that? Not me. No comments, no comments.
I'll make a motion then to approve the minutes from July 16th. And 25.
August 4th.
Oh, sorry. August 4th.
I'll second one.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will recuse myself.
Okay, thank you. Why were you recusing yourself, Mary?
Because I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the schedule is the public hearing. For the consideration of an application from Maritha Barnes, Rolf for a rezoning of a property located at 201 Box Elder Avenue, Paonia, Colorado, 81428. And the request is to change from community commercial district, which is C2, to higher density resident district, which is R3. So the next is a public hearing, and the applicant's present online, is that correct?
No, and from what I understand, they're on their way, but they're not.
Okay, thank you. So we will just take a pause. Yes,
Do you mind, can we make a 5-minute recess? Give them
Sure.
a chance to use the restroom?
that sounds like a good idea.
Okay, do we have to motion for that?
Please.
Do I have a motion to take a 5-minute recess?
So moved.
Okay.
You did?
Oh,
Actually, you did.
Yeah.
So we have a motion to second, yes. All those in favor?
Like Lynn
All
seconded.
set. Everybody said. Just take your pick. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So do we have to extend our recess? Okay. That's
If we're okay.
5 minutes. I thought the motion was for a 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is.
Okay, so there's no option.
No, applicant is-
This is gonna be there. Like, yeah, cause she was fine, so.
Okay. Okay. So. Backing up, we are. Well, I'll back up a little bit. So we are having a public hearing. Considering the application of Loretta Bard's Raw for the rezoning of a property located at 201 Box Elder Avenue, Paonia, Colorado. And they're changing it from community commercial district, which is C2, to a higher density residential district, R3. That's the request. So I would like to open the public hearing at this point on the application from Loretta Barnes Rolfe for a rezoning of a property located at 201 Box Elder Avenue, Paonia, Colorado, 81428, from community commercial district C2 to higher density residential district R3. The purpose of the hearing is to provide a public forum for all interested parties who wish to comment on these applications before the planning commission. The procedure for the public hearing will be as follows. First, there will be a presentation by staff. Second, there will be a presentation by the applicant. Then after these two presentations, we will allow members of the public to speak for up to 5 minutes. All testimony must be presented at the lectern after you give your full name and address, and I swear you in. Please try not to repeat points made by others, but it's fine to say if you agree or disagree with a comment previously made. Please direct all your comments to the planning commission and not to the town staff or the applicant. After receiving public comments, we will allow the applicant and town staff an opportunity to respond and answer any questions raised by the public comments. I will then turn the matter over to the planning commission, and the commissioners may ask questions of anyone who testified. We generally will not ask questions during the presentations. Finally, I will close the public hearing, and the planning commission will discuss the matter and may take some kind of action. Once the public hearing has closed, no further comment from the applicant or public will be taken. However, the commissioners may ask for advice from the staff. Public hearings are recorded in the public record. So do we have proper notification?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have any disclosures?
I do. I prepared the staff report while training our permit coordinator.
Okay. So the staff presentation, will be read by Commissioner Wynn, our town administrator. Please read the staff, please read the staff report.
I can. So as explained, this is an application for rezoning, which we have dubbed internally as Res 2501. This is for real estate parcel number 324-506-139-004. It's commonly known as 201 Box Elder Avenue, Colorado 81428. This staff report was prepared and submitted August 29th of 25. The background is rezoning 2501 is an application for zoning amendment as outlined in section 161420 of the Town of Peone's Municipal Code of Ordinances. Property in question is located at 201 Box Elder Avenue, Peoria, Colorado 81428, and is legally owned by Laretha Barnes Rolfe. I'm gonna leave that PO box out, but we know the property address. The property assessor has designated this real estate parcel, as I explained earlier, that number. The existing zoning is C2, which is community commercial district, and the request is to rezone to R3 higher density residential district. Subject property is 0.35 acres or 15,246 square feet and is currently used as a 4-unit apartment building. Structure originated as a church and parsonage as reported by the applicant, later converted into a single-family residence, and subsequently expanded into 4 units. While the construction of additional units generally followed proper building permits and inspections, zoning approvals were not secured at the time, either due to a lack of enforcement or oversight by the town. This history has created a non-conforming use in the zoning code. The applicant has provided the following with the request: a recorded warranty deed with legal description, a written statement addressing rezoning criteria, photographs of the property, proof of fee payment, which is $500, and a signed application dated July 5th, 2025. Public notice has been properly executed as required by the 161610 of the town's code. Notices were mailed to property owners within 200 feet. The subject property has been posted as the clerk has testified to. The applicant's statement from their application. The applicant asserts that rezoning the parcel from C2 to R3 reflects the existing use of the property as multifamily housing, supports the comprehensive plan and housing needs assessment goals of increasing affordable housing availability, does not negatively affect public health, safety, or welfare, aligns with neighborhood transitions and trends, and the applicant emphasizes that the property footprint has not expanded and that it includes adequate off-street parking. The full statement is available for your review. It was also included in the packet. Unless you want me to, I can go through what the applicant's exact statement was. Okay. General information. So this is where the staff report is more staff talking about the report than the applicant or the application than the applicant. The applicant is requesting to rezone a single property consisting of 0.35 acres identified as lots 37 through 40 and lot A of the Foote and Williamson addition from its existing zoning designation of C2 to higher density residential R3. Rezoning would bring the existing 4-unit multifamily residential building into conformity with the zoning map and would allow for its continued lawful use as multifamily housing. All rezoning applications are required to include a recorded warranty deed with a legal description of the property, Delta County Assessor's Office property card with recorded warranty deed, legal description of the property is included with this report as attachment B. We did that for clarity, so you can see it easily. The current zoning designation of community commercial 2 or C2 anticipates commercial and business uses requiring larger ground level floor areas and access to arterial routes. This designation does not align with the existing residential character and use of the subject property, which has been developed as a 4-unit apartment building since its alleged conversion from a church and parsonage beginning in the mid-20th century. You'll see that I say alleged or applicant stated for that a lot because I can't verify that it ever was a church or parsonage, but it was stated to be as such by the owner. That's why you'll see that in there. The use of the property as multifamily housing is inconsistent with the intent of the C2 district, but would be a permitted use under the R3 zoning. The town's code defines a higher density residential district in section 16250 as intended to provide for the orderly and creative development of residential areas, but density substantially higher than low density or medium density districts, yet compatible with the present scale and character of the town. Higher density residential areas may be appropriately located as part of planned developments. Adjacent to medium density residential areas, commercially zoned areas, adjacent to the core commercial area or downtown, and within close proximity to major collector arterial streets. The town's code defines a community commercial district C2 in section 16280 as intended to augment the commercial and business needs of the community by providing for the orderly development of commercial facilities that, because of their specific nature, require closer access to arterial routes or immediate access to large parking areas, or require generally larger ground level floor areas than the smaller retail shops encouraged in the core commercial areas. The subject property is located within a developed neighborhood in the Flint Williamson addition and is surrounded primarily by adjacent community commercial and light industrial uses and properties along arterial routes with residential uses to the rear of the property. The front of the property faces 2nd Street, which is predominantly a commercial corridor, with businesses on the immediate west and south sides of the property. There is a residential neighborhood to the north, or which is the rear of the property, along Box Elder, and a residential home to the west, which are also the roadway for the address of the property. So even though it faces 2nd, the address is Box Elder. In community development planning best practices, higher density residential uses are considered appropriate when located adjacent to more intense districts such as community commercial or light industrial. These multifamily areas serve as effective transition zones between commercial activity and lower density residential neighborhoods, which are the rear of the property, while also benefiting from existing infrastructure and proximity to services. The current community commercial zoning of the subject property is inconsistent with its established residential use and the surrounding neighborhood character. Whereas rezoning to higher density residential R3 would harmonize the zoning designation with actual conditions, provide a more suitable buffer, and advance broader planning objectives of housing diversity and efficient land use. Rezoning to a higher density residential zoning designation, property would become a buffer to the R1 zoning use of the neighborhood to the rear, the north of the property, from the C2 and I1 uses to the properties immediately south. Okay, the comprehensive plan analysis. So we can't use the 1996 comp plan anymore. We have to use the recently adopted. The Town of Peonia Comprehensive Plan adopted July 16th, 2025, provides several relevant guiding principles. Land use goal LU3, encourage infill and redevelopment where infrastructure exists. Rezoning this parcel would legalize and stabilize an existing multifamily use, avoiding unnecessary sprawl. Housing goal H1, ensure adequate and affordable housing options. This rezoning supports continued provision of affordable units. Housing goal H3, commit to inclusivity by ensuring a diversity of housing types, allowing higher density zoning near the town center and commercial corridor increases diversity of unit types. Future land use plan identifies opportunity for gradual increases of density within existing neighborhoods, particularly where compatible with existing structures. In this case, we have a non-conforming use that they're asking to be rezoned to be conforming. There are some potential concerns that arise with respect to the land use goal LU2 within our same comprehensive plan, just maintaining town character and scale. The existing fourplex is larger than typical single-family homes, but is established and integrated into the neighborhood. Infrastructure element. So here's a big one that precipitated a condition. Water and sewer capacity constraints under the continuing water tap moratorium remain a policy issue. Though this rezoning does not increase current unit count, the property owner has been notified that they are to install 3 additional meters, 1 per dwelling unit, or be charged for 4 water base rates. Currently, the property is only being charged for 1 water base rate, 2 sewer base rates, and up to 5 garbage cans. The property averages 11,565 gallons of water a month based on usage for the last 12 months. So that was from August 25 to August 24. Requiring either 4 meters or 4 base rates would not change the volume of water used a month, but would gain compliance with the town's utility code for accurate billing. Zoning code analysis. So those were some of the, as a staff report, you're not supposed to be all happy. You're supposed to look at it objectively, and that's why there's some things that support this and some things that need to be considered. Zoning code analysis, C2 community commercial district. Allows commercial and mixed uses, but does not primarily support standalone multifamily housing. R3 higher density residential district specifically allows multifamily dwellings, including apartments up to 6 units per lot by right, with a required minimum lot area of 10,000 square feet. The property has 15,246 square feet. The property's current use as a 4-unit apartment building is consistent with R3, but not C2. Rezoning corrects a long-standing inconsistency between actual use and zoning designation, bringing the property into conformity with the Paonia zoning code and clarifying its permitted status going forward. So there are some required findings that are needed to reconsider a rezoning application. Section 161420 of the town's code establishes those procedures for determining zoning amendments. Number 1, request for amendment may only be presented by a legal title owner of real property within the area proposed for a change by the Planning Commission or the Board of Trustees. Request for a change in the boundary of any zone district by a legal title owner of real property within the area proposed for change shall be accompanied by a petition requesting such change be signed by owners of at least 50% of the area of the lots included in such change. The applicant produced an application and the required fee for rezoning that included only the property that the applicant owns. Since there is only one applicant in the proposed zoning change, 100% of the area of lots included in the change have answered in the affirmative that the proposed zoning change is acceptable to them. The applicant also provided a recorded warranty deed with a legal description that establishes their ownership of the property. The applicant also provided a written statement explaining how the request is in compliance with the correct criteria. The applicant states in the written statement that dear members of the Planning and Zoning Commission, on behalf of property owners Loretta Rolfe, we respectfully submit this request to rezone the property located at 201 Box Elder Avenue, Peoria, Colorado, from its current C2 zoning designation to R3 residential high density. We respectfully request the town's consideration and support in granting the zoning variance. It's a rezoning, not a variance, but this is the applicant's words. This action will allow the property to continue serving as a vital housing resource for the community without requiring any physical changes or new development. This is from the applicant's statement dated August 5th, 2025. Number 2, each amendment shall be submitted to the Planning Commission for its recommendations. That's why we're here tonight. Such action by the Planning Commission shall be filed in a report to the Board of Trustees. The applicant has submitted an application for consideration of rezoning to the Planning Commission. And Section 161410 establishes the authority for hearing such petitions for rezoning. Section 161430 establishes that after the Planning Commission hears an application for rezoning, recommendations are then submitted to the Board of Trustees for consideration during a public hearing. The public hearing is scheduled for this rezoning application on, I don't know that date, so I still have it as insert this date, during the Board of Trustees regularly scheduled meeting. McClure has verified that the public notice requirements were met as established by Section 166010 of the Town's Code. 2A, so these are things that are in our code that have to be met. The amendment is not adverse to the public health, safety, and welfare. The applicant's request, according to staff, is reasonable considering the uses immediately abutting the property along Box Elder Avenue. The request for rezoning does not appear to adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare. The request for zoning the property from community commercial to higher density residential would improve the protections of public health, safety, and welfare in the existing neighborhood. Specifically, the rezoning would align the zoning designation with the existing multifamily use of the property, avoid the continuation of a non-conforming use, and provide stability to residents. The rezoning would also discourage the close proximity of incompatible land uses where commercial designation abuts established residential laws. And this also has to be answered in the affirmative. The amendment is in substantial conformity with the master plan, or the existing zoning is erroneous, or conditions in the area affected have changed materially since the area was last rezoned. The applicant's request is compatible with the current comprehensive plan for the town of Paonia for 2025. Comprehensive plan includes housing goals that encourage the preservation and expansion of affordable housing, support for diverse housing types, and infill development where infrastructure already exists. Rezoning this property to R3 conforms to those goals by stabilizing 4 affordable apartment units. Further, the existing C2 zoning is inconsistent with the long-established residential use structure, which which allegedly originated as a church and parsonage and later evolved into 4 units. The residential character of the area and increased demand for affordable higher density housing represent a material change in conditions since the original zoning was established. Therefore, the request for rezoning corrects a longstanding inconsistency and harmonizes the zoning map with both the comprehensive plan and the existing neighborhood character. Staff recommendation. Based on a review of the comprehensive plan, zoning code, and applicant materials, staff recommends conditional approval of rezoning 2501 to rezone 201 Box Elder from C2 to R3. This recommendation is supported by the following findings. The rezoning brings the property into conformity with the existing use and avoids continued non-conforming status. The rezoning supports Paolia's comprehensive plan goals related to housing diversity, affordability, and infill development. The rezoning does not adversely affect adjacent residential and commercial properties and preserves neighborhood compatibility. Condition of approval. As part of this rezoning approval, the property owner shall be required to achieve compliance with the town's utility code by installing 3 additional water meters, 1 per dwelling unit, or alternatively, by being billed for 4 water base rates. Currently, the property is billed for only 1 water and 2 sewer base rates, despite operating 4 residential units. Accurate billing or metering ensures that town's infrastructure costs are equitably distributed and consistent with town code. The property averages 565 gallons of water per month based on usage from August 24 to August 25. Requiring either 4 meters or 4 base rates will not increase the actual water consumption, but will correct the billing structure and maintain compliance with the utility code. The applicant shall comply with the town sewer code as well. So there are 4 potential motions. One is an approval with a conditional approval. The second is a denial. Third is a deferral, and the 4th is a no recommendation. The only time that a deferral comes into place if there's more information requested from the planning commission to make a decision. That is it for the staff report.
Okay, are there any other staff comments? And who are the staff that participated in this? When we say staff, I always like, it's such a vague term.
So this is staff that includes our front office, which are our utility building and permit clerk, our coordinator, our clerk's office, our police department, our public works. Everyone has had a chance to look at this application.
Thank you. So are there any other staff comments? Okay, let's move on to the applicant presentation. Would the applicant or applicant's representative please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and take the vote.
Hello, my name is Liz Heydrich and I'm with Needle Rock Mountain.
Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth in this matter?
Yes, I do.
Please make your presentation.
Well, that is a tough act to follow. That was extremely thorough. Thank you so much for all of that information. I feel like I learn something every time I attend one of your meetings or the council meetings. As was stated in the application, I don't think it was the intent of Laretha Roth to be in any sort of violation. But as with growing pains of any community, sometimes things get slipped through the cracks. She certainly has done a nice job. If you are able to view the property online, perhaps through Zillow or something else. And we also did turn in a floor plan. You'll see that all of the 4 units have their own separate entrance. They all have smoke and CO detectors. They're up to date. They have nice kitchens. They have laundry facilities and private bathrooms. And each of them have at least 1 bedroom and a living room area with dining as well. 2 of the units have 2 bedrooms. There is also a semi-finished basement down below that is not incorporated into the finished floor plan for the 4 units. There's 2 single individuals that live in each one of the units at this time, and then Laretha maintains 1 of the units for herself, which will change when she sells it. The other one, the hesitation for, she could have filled it 100 times over because her rent is like $1,000 or less. It's right in that price range, which is very affordable in today's rents, if you're familiar. And that does include utilities. So I do think it meets a need in our community for affordable housing. They all have their own little yard corridor with privacy fencing. And if you drive past the building in your decision-making process, you'll see that there is ample off-street parking that is there. So I just really appreciate your consideration in this matter. I am the listing agent, did not know initially that we were in violation of the current zoning, but the town made us aware, and I just really appreciate you very much, the town staff. They reached out to me in a formal letter and personally. So I think sometimes it's our job to right the wrongs of the past. I really don't have anything else unless you have any questions. It's very clean, it's very nice property. If you drive by, you'll see the yards well maintained, the privacy fences. I don't think there's anybody here to complain. We've heard nothing from the neighbors, and I did knock on a few doors and check. So, thank you. You have any questions for me? No questions, I heard maybe?
Not
Not now. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for your presentation. It pales in comparison to his.
Now we have the opportunity for the public to comment. So it's the public comment portion of the hearing. I will now open the public comment portion of the public hearing to anybody who wishes to participate. Does anybody have any comment from the public? Okay, if you could approach the podium and state your name, your full name and address for the record.
Brian Roscoe, 212 Butler Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth in this matter?
I do.
Thank you. Make your comment.
Great. So I just wanted to echo Liz when I said really good presentation, very thorough. Came in here not sure. I just got a notification in the mail that there's going to be a rezoning, and I just wanted to know why. I think I have a clear picture of that, and just wanted to get confirmation that it looks like this is not so much a move to add more units to this current property, but to bring it into compliance with the original intent. And that was my main concern as a neighbor, is that there was going to be a rezoning and then more units added, more traffic, things like that. Does not appear to be the case, and that maybe it's just related to potential sale of property. So yeah, those are my concerns. Not sure if I can get an answer to those directly. I know covered a lot of that in the report, but that was kind of my main concern, and it looks like there's going to be a requirement for more water taps added to bring it into that new zoning. So that's all I have. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for your questions and your presence. It's nice to have the public attend. Okay, applicant and staff rebuttal. Does the applicant wish to offer further comment? No, he wouldn't.
I would just simply say that, I guess I have to come up here, right? Okay.
You're still at it.
Can I pause for a second?
Sure.
I am not, if the clerk, Samara, are you tracking what's happening online? It's like, I'm not really seeing that. If there's anything on the screen. I'm not speaking over
It's
it.
a live transcript is all.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, okay. Just in total, transparency, there's no immediate plans to upgrade the facility or in any way change the footprint. But I did mention there was a semi-finished, unfinished basement that has an exterior door that once historically, opened up to the street to Box Elder, which might delay. The property has the Box Elder address and not second. But there might be the thought process. I believe the R3 zoning would allow for up to 6 units. And it's potential that they might want to finish off the basement as a 5th unit. So I just wanted to be transparent.
Anything further from the staff?
Yeah, I'm gonna have one here real quick. I just wanna find the correct, code. Regulations. Okay, so by right, by rezoning this, so I'll answer your questions as well. That's the point of the staff rebuttal time. I do want to make one clarification. It is not water taps. It is water base rates. So there's not going to be a new demand for additional water. It's just billing them for appropriately for the amount of units that they have. So if they do end up adding a 5th unit, they would get 5 base rates is what we're recommending. But by right, an R3 district can have up to 6 units per lot. That's it. And in order to have that, they have to have a minimum 15,000 square foot lot. In this case, they have a 15,565 square foot lot, meaning they can have up to 6 units. So with this rezoning, there's the potential that there could be 2. And it also depends on the amount of space. So if there's only 1 space in the basement, sounds like if this were to transfer, they could finish that and they would have 5 and still be allowable by right, should this rezoning take place. But that would require them to also get an additional base rate for both water and sewer.
So that's all from the staff?
Can I add one more thing? Can you go to the public notice board picture? So for rezonings and for some of these actions, we actually have a public notice board that should be at these sites. What was placed originally was a piece of paper that started to get weathered after some time because this has been out for a while. And so we had staff go and place a new notice on site that, is on our notice board. That way more people can see that there's something happening in these spots. So you can see that it's getting weathered and we're like, well, we probably should put it on a sandwich board. That's what we did. That will conclude. Other than it, I do have one more. Can you go back to the aerial view of parking? There it is. Oh, I like that other one. Yeah. I like that one. It kind of shows it better. So one of the big concerns is that there's adequate off-street parking, and you can see that there's, 3 vehicles in this parking lot. There's plenty of room for additional parking, and they still have their backyard. So if they did add that 5th unit, it should still be off of the street. In one of these other pictures, where it's front on, can you go to that one, Ruben? Where it's a front on, like a street view picture. You can see a trailer with like a UTV on it or side by side. I think it's that one. And so even if they do park it, it is still off of the town right. So they do what it appears to have an adequate parking if they were to go to 5 spaces. And that's it.
Okay, I will now close the public comment portion of the public hearing. Okay, we're on to comment about the public hearing. Before we turn to commissioner questions and deliberation, I want to state that the documents included as part of the record for the public hearing include all application materials submitted by the applicant, all materials included in the packets, all written referral and public comments received regarding the application, the notice of hearings, the town's ordinances. Does anyone have any objection to the inclusion of these items in the record? No? Okay, thank you.
We can't see barely.
Where is she?
I have no objection.
Hiding behind that.
That's pretty, yeah.
No comments or no objections. Okay. Questions from the trustees. Who would like to begin?
I have a question for Mr. Roscoe. If your concerns are still standing or if they've been alleviated from what you've heard?
I do actually have, probably one more that, and I appreciate the transparency of just an additional units. Is the current zoning then precluding or keeping that additional unit from happening? Like, can you build that commercial zoning 2 more units on there, or is it set?
So how do we handle this with questions?
It's up to the chair.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
so,
We don't
So we're
usually
doing
do back and forth during
Yeah,
that. Okay.
so we're doing questions from the trustees right now. I suppose he's passed a question.
Well, if I'm up here being a commissioner, I could ask
asking.
the other commissioner and or staff to please go ahead and clarify.
Yeah. So by our code, you can't make a non-conformity worse, right? So our code also says that if you're going to transfer property, you should probably make that non-conformity conforming before that property transfers. That's the reason for this rezoning. They're wanting to sell the property and keep the existing use. But for making a non-conformity worse, you can't do that. And so if there were a building permit that came in, then we would have to deny it to make that non-conformity worse. But what we can do is anything can be conditioned. Right? So if we've learned that there's room for 1 more unit, we can condition this to say, even though it's rezoned, this other condition says, well, you will only keep it to 5. But know that you're limiting that, limiting the rights of that property owner should it get rezoned, who has enough property to make it 6. So.
Yeah, so my 2 cents worth, since I'm the one that asked the question, I mean, I'm not personally in favor of putting conditions like that on it. If in my mind, if we're rezoning it and trying to keep the bookkeeping moving forward as simple as possible rather than having exceptions for individual lots.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to point to perhaps some conditions in the code that would keep things from really expanding on that property. We have parking requirements for instance, 4 more bedrooms. Well, I don't know, that's an apartment, right? So I'm looking at the table 16-5.
It's the intro table.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Well, I only
Is it
say because I was
under P?
looking at it today too.
Yeah,
Mostly,
That's
it's,
planned unit development.
yeah, it's under PUD, right?
but in
Yeah.
16, there is a comparable table.
Yeah, there are parking there, so clarify and correct me if I'm wrong, perhaps Stefan. That there is a certain amount of lot coverage that cannot be covered in any zone. I don't know what the restrictions are for C2, like what the setbacks are. And then furthermore, there has to be parking on that lot. So that would make it impossible, for instance, to cover that whole lot with building, right?
Correct, right. There's still setbacks you have to follow. You got a multi-part question, so let me address each one. So so there are setbacks that have to be followed regardless of the zoning. If it's C2 or R3, there's still setbacks that have to be followed. Which means you can't expand into those setbacks without going for a variance. Variances are an exception to the rule, not just automatically granted. So there's always a chance that they'll be denied. Section 16.6.10 talks about multifamily housing and 4 more bedrooms. It says that for 4 more bedrooms for residential use, there must be 3 spaces per unit, right? And so that's for 4 more bedrooms in but these are, how many bedrooms does each unit have?
Again, 2 of them are just 1 bedroom, one of them has 2 bedrooms. The other one has what could be a second bedroom, but it's currently being used as a very large closet.
Okay,
So, I mean, maximum bedrooms existing now be 6. 4 units, if we wanted to say there's 6 total bedrooms right now.
so by that math, if there's 2 that are 1 bedroom, that's 3 spaces needed total. Then you've got another 2 bedroom, which requires 2 spaces, so that's 4. And did you say there was 1 other 2 bedroom?
There's the potential for 2 of them to be 2 bedrooms and 2 more to be 1 bedrooms.
That's,
So the 4 that exist right now, the basement apartment at the very most would be a 2 bedroom.
so 9.5 would be the amount of parking spaces if you go to the full max.
On the property.
Look at 16:6-10A.
Ooh.
That's what I thought you were looking at, Suzanne, when I asked. Because it says the following number of off-street parking spaces shall be provided with the construction, addition, or change
Oh,
of
this is-
use, which requires a special review to any of the buildings listed. So I just,
And they're not doing a change of use, this is a rezoning.
now if they added and I don't know if adding a 5th unit would be considered, that would be construction.
That would be,
So then,
there would have to be a special use review.
so would that then impose trigger an additional bed, if it was 1 bedroom? Another 1.5 spaces would have to be added. And again, I'm just asking, I don't know the answer,
It
but
would need that, but
Yes, Lucy.
But additionally, if they were gonna add more units, they'd have to add kitchens, bathrooms, and water taps. So that's not happening until the
Right.
moratorium's lifted at a
yeah,
minimum.
they would be adding
That's a
another
really good
dwelling
point.
unit.
because now we're talking about a larger volume of usage, which we can't do by maintaining it right now at 4, that's allowable. Under a water moratorium, but if we go to add that 5th, the water moratorium has to have been lifted, or there has to be a set number that the moratorium says we can have.
You can't add more base units, it would have to be another water tap.
No, they can't add another unit.
Right, so the rezoning allows up to 6 units on a property, but for right now, they have 4 units. For them to operate more than 4 units, they would need another kitchen, they would need another bathroom, and they would need another water tap for that.
And there's no plans to expand the building in footprint. Just it.
So there's no special review that's required if we want to put a new unit on there, is there? It's allowed by right under the C2 designation, is that correct? It's a little hard to read that 16.610.
We are updating our code, but the way I read this is they would need to do a special use review if they were to come into add a unit. That's how I read it.
And a special use review requires them to notify the neighbors, so the neighbors again would hear about this and there would be another hearing or a review or a comment.
Most likely it would be another public hearing.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of went over. I don't know where in here it talks about the size of the building that you can have on a C2 lot, but again, our code is gonna be changing a little bit too, some of that might be the density, I don't know.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes.
So one of the questions that was brought up was, can you make a non-conforming use worse? And the answer to that is section 161370 says no non-conforming use of a building or structure may be changed to another non-conforming use, except when the new non-conforming use is of a more restricted nature as may be determined and approved by the planning commission. So if they wanted to add another unit, they don't get a rezoning, they're gonna have to come through and make a really good case why. And that would just be a weird practice to say that we're gonna make this non-conforming use worse and not rezone it, just.
Okay. I do want to make a comment about when we talk about the address being on Box Elder. I think it has to do with the configuration of the lots. The front lot line is always the shortest lot line in our code. The long lot line is the side yard. So Second Street, even though the building faces that way, it's technically considered the side yard. And I know there's side yards that are numbered too, like my house, but typically it's that short lot line defines the And so that would be the box elder side. There are probably 3 or 4 lots.
There's something weird about a corner though,
Oh, yeah, well,
because it's a corner house, but it's.
but the short lot line still, because you see that way, the lots go this way, and you'd have to do a lot split if you wanted to. The lots go from the alley to box elder. Alley to box elder, they're probably 25 feet wide and 125 feet long. So. Anyway, the utilities, anyway, but that's just a little input, though it's not important, it's not really relevant to this. Okay, any other comments or questions from the commissioners? Yes.
I just was curious, in the written report, does it say that they would have to have 4 sewer taps? Be paying 4 base rates, not taps. 4 base, is that what was considered to be in conformance with the utility code?
Yeah, no,
It was silent on the number.
It
of how much
was.
you required.
because there are some weird calculations.
Oh.
That would need to be determined. If this goes through, that's why I think it says, and comply with all provisions of the town's utility code for waters.
So it's not necessarily 4
Right.
base rates for sewer.
It could be, I don't recall, we do something for business condos that's a little bit different. But these they don't all have shared facilities. They're all their own independent unit, so that may negate any calculation that just needs to be 4. I just was unsure and needed to do, if this does go through, then we'll have to make that change in the utility, their utility billing. Based on our code says, that's why I'm saying there's still some.
Okay, Lynn?
And does that include the garbage rules too? There would need to be 4 cans.
They're already paying for up to 5,
Oh,
but yes, they would have to comply.
Which is cheaper than paying for 4 individual cans.
Correct.
So this, each unit is it considered its own freestanding that it would need 1 can per unit? Or go with the 5?
The composite bill, so the water, sewer, trash are billed separately.
I paid for 2 trash cans for our back cottage in the front.
Do you have 2 different bills?
See, this is why we have these discussions, right?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
so
So
as of right now, there isn't like there isn't a 201A box elder and a 201B, C, and D, but that may be something that should be required moving forward. And it does sound like the reason that they're doing this is there's already, I heard in the presentation that there were the utilities are included with their rent. And that could be because it was never addressed, but even for E911 life, health and safety, each unit should probably have its own address.
per unit.
Or unit, well, that's what I mean, a unit number to go with that address.
So we have other apartment buildings in this town and, we have the one that's, on the other side of the street behind our utility barn in that area. My question is, how have we handled this, the Maple Leaf Apartments over there? How do we handle the water building with other apartments? How is it addressed in our code?
Well, so we're getting out of the purview of the planning
I
commission
know, but what I'm
because
saying is.
we're talking about rezoning,
Yes.
not how to apply the utility code, which has been decided by the Board of Trustees and is to be done administratively.
So I guess I'm a little confused then because we've kind of made a big deal about water taps and the way you're suggesting 2 different ways of billing the water. And so my question is, how does that get decided? Because I just want to make sure that we're being fair and that we wouldn't be creating the impression in this meeting with what's been written in this report about water and that they could potentially just add another charge onto their bill. So we make sure that we are being fair and and we're not making a decision either, we're making recommendations here. I just want to make sure that we're not creating another non-conforming situation, like encouraging it. And just so there's an awareness of it, So it's not like we're just kind of verbally saying, sure, it can be done this way, when we really don't have that.
Can I be interested in pontificating? Okay, so, okay.
Pontificated,
So-
you say?
You brought up a lot, so, and it sounded like it was to be on a soapbox. is what I'm saying.
No, I'm not trying to be on the soapbox.
So I wanna address
I'm
something.
just wanting to make sure that I know what we're doing here, Stephanie.
And so if you've read the potential motions,
Yes.
they say that they shall comply with all provisions of the town's utility code for water and sewer. It's not saying you're gonna have four, you're gonna have four, you're gonna have three. That's outside of the scope of this planning commission. It was important to note what the existing issue is so that conditions can be said, hey, because you get this rezoning, you don't get to not comply with other provisions of code. So it's not creating some sort of special circumstance or non-conformity. It's being very general.
Okay, so I just wanted to make it clear that we are not recommending, like you're saying, a certain action with the way that water's being done. All we're doing right now, I mean, we've made a big deal of the water. I'm just, and this isn't really about it, it's about the rezoning. And I'm just repeating myself here. So, you're giving us conditional approval here. The owner shall be required to achieve compliance with it by installing 3 additional water meters, 1 per dwelling, or alternatively. So what are we giving conditional approval for? I mean, why
Did
are
you
we
read
even
the
bringing
motion?
it up?
Perception is more,
Yes,
is more general.
okay, so I mean, I was reading a portion about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that doesn't really apply, it's just the motions that we're doing at this point. Okay,
And as I explained, there are 4 motions. Potential motions.
okay, let me just see,
I just want to go back to the parking thing, and so when you calculated how many beds, whatever, it was 9.5 spaces. And so what's there, is that adequate for 9.5 spaces?
there's a certain dimension to parking space, isn't there? You know,
Are you are you looking at me because the preamble to parking spaces is if they do new construction or change the use? Not not this current, that this section in the chapter 16 applies to their existing. It's if they change it. If they were to add that 5th unit, then I think it would come into play.
Okay,
But the preamble is, I can't find it, forget where it
but
is.
changing the use from commercial to residential, that does kick that in.
That's not the use. We're changing the zoning to make the non-conforming use of commercial conforming to the zoning code. So if they were to change it to, let's say, its current use is as a multifamily residential, they would change it to a bank. That's changing that use. That would conform with C2, but then because of that, they would have to meet parking compliance. There'd have to be a special use. But what they're asking for is to change the zone to make their current use conform.
Let me just read that preamble again, if you don't mind. Just
yes,
the following number of off-street parking spaces.
let's have the section number.
16.6-10.
Okay.
A, which is off-street parking spaces required. And I was looking at this today thinking, well, what about parking? And I read this, the following number of off-street parking spaces shall be provided with the construction, addition, or change of use, which requires a special review to any of the buildings and uses listed in table 16-5. So I think the point here is that they're not adding a new unit, they're not doing construction, they're not changing what it's being used for right now, even though it's zoning. So I think that's where these restrictions don't apply, but as Stefan said earlier, if they added a 5th unit, that would constitute construction and that would have to be looked at.
And they have ample parking at this point. I suppose they could get rid of the parking, no?
That would be, well, and I was thinking, this is a little
I've
future.
seen it happen before,
If they were to extend their footprint,
or turn it into garden.
they would run into the square footage requirements.
There's no requirement. Okay, go ahead, Casey.
I'm just trying to rein it back in. So my comment on the whole thing is just, it makes sense to me. It's a use that, not a use. It is it's in a commercial zoning. But the existing use is multifamily residential. And so to me, the rezoning makes sense. And I'd be in
And then
favor of it.
progression from less density to higher density to industrial.
And to me, it provides something that this town needs. And
And it's a building that's there that kind of doesn't look like a single family residence.
so, I mean, rather than getting lost in the weeds, I would be in favor of it and I'm ready to make a motion if the chair is ready for that.
I have one proposed amendment to this first, if you're gonna take motion number one. I would like to add trash. To the following the town's utility code for water, sewer and trash.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Or just truncate it to utility code.
because it's, for whatever reason, garbage is in utility code.
Yeah, I would specify garbage just because it is so wonky.
So Madam Chair, does anybody else on the commission have comments, or are you ready?
Mary, are you,
I'm fine. I think this makes total sense and I think we should do it. So, yeah, I'm ready for a motion too.
You guys to make a motion after you close the public.
Well, she did close it.
No, it is. I closed the comment section of the hearing.
I see.
Okay, so, okay. So we began and we have who is next. Any other questions or comments? No, hearing none. I will now close the public hearing and turn the matter over to the planning commission for consideration of the matter listed on the agenda. Okay, board deliberations. Okay, we've discussed the application here. We've noted some of the attributes that support a determination to approve or deny the application. And they've all been in accordance with applicable provisions of the town code. Okay, if there's no further discussion by the planning commission, I would entertain a motion.
I move to recommend conditional approval of Res 25-01 because it does not adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare, is in substantial conformity with the comprehensive plan, and corrects a long-standing zoning inconsistency. With the condition that the property owner complies with all provisions of the town's utility code for water, sewer, and trash.
I'll second that.
We have more discussion on that
Do
motion.
you want to make a comment, Stefan?
I do. I want to ask a question. For rezoning, is there a requirement that we have like a 3/4, or is it a simple majority?
I believe it's a simple majority, but we'll do a roll call.
All right, thank you.
So, we are making a recommendation, and this will be considered by the planning commission, I mean, the town board. And our recommendation will be part of that, upcoming hearing. Okay, can we have a roll call vote?
Chair Watson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Howe,
Aye.
Commissioner Bachran,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Hunter.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Abstain.
No problem.
Okay, and then we have, Stelter's not here, so, but we have the motion carries. So that concludes our public hearing. And, we can adjourn the meeting.
Excellent.